Hello, everyone, and welcome. I am Imani Greene. I'm the president of Greene Group, and I am a very, very proud PHA board member. I'm delighted to be joined in conversation today by Linda Findley Kozlowski, president and CEO of Blue Apron. Blue Apron, as you may know, is one of two very integral partners of PHA's Pass the Love campaign, something we're incredibly proud about. And today we're going to learn a little bit more about why efforts like Pass the Love are so critical to Blue Apron and their work. Linda, thank you so much for joining us. It's really a pleasure to have you.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm delighted to be here and so thrilled to be part of this campaign.
So I've got to know, first off, what attracted Blue Apron to Pass the Love? What is it about it that makes it feel like it's important to the inherent complexity of your brand?
Honestly, the Pass the Love campaign is just perfectly aligned with our vision, which is better living through better food. And we believe it's our responsibility to help make this possible for everyone. It lets us use our culinary authority to help implement systemic change and promote food equity across all areas of our business and how we think about our relationships to the community. You know, we talk a lot about making good food accessible to everyone, and this partnership really lets us take advantage of the efforts we have on our side to provide that access, but also just magnified by the work with Partnership for Healthy America.
So can you talk a little bit more, Linda, about healthy food? I mean, I think that's where we intersect. That's where our brands grow and connect and blossom. Can you talk a little bit more about what healthy food is to Blue Apron and how you think that that PHA and Pass the Love can help bring that to people through Blue Apron?
Yeah, no, I actually think that that's such a great connection here, is that healthy food, I think, often has been thought of something that's either restrictive or unattainable or overly expensive. And the reality is it doesn't need to be. And that's a big part of where we've focused as a company in general. And for us, it's about how do we actually continue that message. So for us, we think about healthy food sort of in two different categories. We think about the food itself, which is high quality ingredients that are whole ingredients. So we've developed a direct supply chain that lets us source mostly directly from the producers very high quality ingredients, and that reduces food waste. Food waste is one of the biggest contributors to increasing costs of ingredients that makes them less accessible to other people. By reducing food waste and doing direct sourcing, we can get the highest quality ingredients at the best price and then use that to help leverage and scale. So I think that's one aspect of healthy eating, is really starting with whole ingredients and removing that intimidation behind cooking or the planning process or the waste or the sort of perception that cooking is hard or difficult. Like, let's make it easier, let's give you great ingredients, and let's reduce the waste so that we can save you money. That's one side. The other side of healthy to us is about that actual act of cooking and connecting with your family and friends while you're doing it. So there's lots of research that shows that community is so important, and teaching skills and accomplishment and empowerment is so important as part of the process too. And what's more empowering than creating a meal together as a family, teaching your kids how to cook, and getting that feeling of satisfaction of taking those whole ingredients and turning them into something amazing. So when we think about healthy foods overall, we're not thinking about restriction, we're not thinking about diets, we're thinking about empowerment, great ingredients, great skill sets, and really combining those things to create something that is actually quite accessible to a lot of different people.
One of the things that I know is really important to both of us is the sort of affordability of food for people. Affordability across the board, right? Because it's not just about what you can eat today and what you can afford today, but it's about creating a lifestyle for generations to come. How would you envision that something like this could grow to have sort of a long-standing benefit over time to communities of varying different of economic levels?
Yeah, I think you're so right about the cultural connection of food. And I think people often think about that cultural connection of gathering around a table, whether it's family or friends or, just a couple. How many relationships have blossomed over just a conversation over dinner. And cultural connections to food, I think, are extremely important, and they're very visceral for everyone. But the accessibility of that connection is really what we're trying to empower here. By using technology to actually automate and reduce waste and make those more stressful parts of the meal planning process easier, then you actually free people up to be able to focus more on that connection part over food. And I think one of the more interesting things that we've seen in the meal kit space is we have so many customers that started cooking with their families and now their kids are cooking for them. So one of the biggest pressures that families feel is this idea of, I don't have enough time. I have too many things I have to do, particularly if you're working multiple jobs. It's less about the ingredients sometimes, and it's more about that accessibility of time. And if you're able to empower your entire family to help cook, including your kids, then that multiplies the time that's available to help bring the family together. And that can really pay off dividends long-term in the future, to be able to take those ingredients that are affordable but quality and take the reduction of stress in the planning and preparation process and really create some great magic.
Okay, so let's talk about magic, right? And those funky little critters that you just mentioned, kids. At the end of the day, this only really works and becomes like a generational product if it tastes good. Because no matter how healthy it is and no matter how we dress it up, historically, you know, people tend to want to put butter and salt and cheese on things to make them taste great and to get them down their kids' throats. So how do you propose that? How does Blue Apron solve for that? And I'd also be interested to know if that works in your house as well.
So Blue Apron actually solves for this incredibly well in the idea that we have something called the Blue Apron Plus One. So our team of culinary experts think about not just the individual ingredients, but the interaction between those ingredients. So, and salt is actually a really good example. So a bit of salt isn't just about seasoning, but it also sometimes changes the chemical reaction of the food as it's cooking. And so how those dynamics work together really changes the flavor of the food, even if you're only using a little bit of it. And so that plus one is something that we focus on, because it's like, how can we just take that one more level and up a notch? Because I completely agree with you, and this goes back to the question about health. It doesn't matter how healthy something is, if people aren't going to eat it, then if they don't enjoy it, then it's not going to be healthy to them because they're not actually going to be ingesting it. So it needs to taste amazing. And we have all sorts of tricks up our sleeve after 5,000 recipes that we've created over the existence of the company to really know how all those different aspects of a recipe work together to create that flavor. Roasting a vegetable, for example, instead of actually cooking it on the stovetop, can completely change the flavor, bring out the sweetness of carrots, and then kids all of a sudden love it.
Well, Linda, I'm super grateful to have you here. I'd like to announce on record that PHA is perfectly willing to be a Blue Apron and learn under you all for as long as you will have us. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you for your partnership. Tremendous thanks for your support. And I think at this point, I'll turn it over to a brief message from Blue Apron for everyone to enjoy. So stay tuned.